Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Sitback right here on Channel 1 Dialogue TV and, of course, on our platforms on YouTube, our podcast platforms. Firstly, deeply sorry about the delayed start. Unfortunate events, and this is what happens when you sort of do not see exactly where you are going and you drive into a transformer around here. As is, we are going through power cuts and power issues, and when this adds on to the issues that we are going through right now, it makes life a bit difficult. So apologies for our delayed start, but we are definitely going to get into the show and, of course, trying to give the entirety of the show coming to you live on Channel 1 Dialogue TV. And today, a very special guest. As always on Sitback, we speak about trending topics. We speak about current news that's actually making. We've got so many different guests that have actually walked into the studio talking about different topics in their industry. And today, we're going to get into something that Sri Lanka absolutely loves. It's the game of rugby. And just over the weekend, Isipathana College, of course, crowned champions of the year 2022, and we've got Duminda Seneviratne, the president of the rugby committee of Isipathana, in the studio with us. Duminda, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Pleasure to be here, Shaq.
And so sorry about the situation.
It's always
right. We had a good chat outside,
of course.
waiting for it to be fixed, but we're definitely going to get into it.
We're used to these conditions, so
we are. But then we felt really bad keeping you outside and not knowing when this is going to happen. But it's on now. It's on now. So,
okay.
Apologies to all the Isipathanians who are actually watching the show right now. We're on. We got a good show lined up for you. As always on the show, diving straight into it, we start the show off with a poll, and usually the poll is based on the subject that we're talking about. And right now, time for us to jump straight into the poll for you.
Corporate events, weddings, concerts, or simply getting fuel with the QR code. Let us help you take your big day to the world with a professional broadcast to Facebook, YouTube, Zoom, MS Teams, or your website at the most affordable rates. So give us a call and let's go live. PodHub.
Thanks so much. Welcome back to the show, and it's time for our daily poll. Let's jump straight into it. Here's the question: should schools rugby come under the purview of the Ministry of Youth and Sports? If you didn't know, schools rugby actually comes under the purview of the Education Ministry in Sri Lanka. The question we're asking you is, should schools rugby come under the purview of the Ministry of Youth and Sports? Yes or no? And everybody watching us right now on Channel 1 Dialogue TV and everyone watching on our PodHub platforms on YouTube, you can also send in your answers to that one. WhatsApp your answers 077 669 1590 077 669 1590. At the end of the show, we will reveal what the general public who've been watching the show ideally think if schools rugby should come under the purview of the Ministry of Sports and Youth. So Duminda, let's jump straight into it. Firstly, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
For a fantastic win. Isipathana College crowned 2022 winners of schools rugby. It's a huge deal for you. It's a huge deal for the school.
Yes.
And it's also a very, very special deal. We're going to get into that because unlike other times, we're going through trying times. And I mean, we're going through trying times. Just want to know exactly how the boys were going through it, and so much, of course, sacrifice that they had to make sure that this happens. Undefeated.
Definitely, it's unbeaten.
Yeah. It's a great, great achievement. Firstly, as the president of the rugby committee of Isipathana College, what do you and the office bearers actually oversee? What's the role of the rugby committee?
Okay, Shaq, thank you very much for being here. So basically, as a rugby committee, actually we are reporting to our main body, All Boys Association. We are a subcommittee of the All Boys Association. From there, our duty is to make sure that we manage and operate the administration work of the rugby at school.
Right.
In that portfolio, we have to manage our funding, our boys, the players' welfare, and the coaches, and the other supporting staff and everything that we need to manage properly. So it's not an easy thing. It's like a separate organization itself, because at Isipathana, you take the rugby is the #1 sport. So the lot of expectations are there. So the responsibilities are high. And the main objective, the main thing that we carry is to how we can produce good citizens through the rugby to the society.
Right,
So
right.
that's our objective overall, because rugby teach a lot of things.
Right.
So not only the playing with the contact, it's a contact sport. It's a very, very tough game. But overall, that's our responsibility as the president as well as the rugby committee.
Right. Now, obviously, like you said, rugby is very popular in Isipathana, and that means the rugby committee constantly is watched very carefully.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so because you are responsible for a group of boys
Yes.
who are very passionate about the game, and the school and the old boys
Yes.
who are very passionate. So you're pretty much under the microscope all the time.
Yes.
And so looking forward and making sure that everything sort of falls into place.
Yes, so it's like this. So we have entire school. We have 4,200 odd students.
Right.
So out of that, 50 to 60% is play rugby.
Right.
So,
Wow.
from morning till if it is school days, the leisure time or the interval, the most of the students are playing with whatever the objects they will find. So it's not easy. So when you go to the practices from junior under 10 to the first 15, if you take the junior level, we get in one age group it's 100 odd participants.
Wow.
So it's not easy to manage the whole operation.
Right.
So then we actually in 2018 we have changed our complete structure
Right.
at rugby,
Right.
because we see a demand, huge demand from the school itself, as well as if you see the other competitive schools, actually they are coming up in strength to strength.
Right.
So if we want to compete, then we need to have a proper structure in place. So we have transformed our approach, and we have doubled our coaching staff, and also the administration. Also, we have split certain subcommittees. We have a sub-advisory committee with consists of our past legendary players and some other professionals
Right.
who are advising us.
Right.
And also we have separately the tech committee. So with that combinations, we are trying to see how best that we can give to the kids.
Right.
So it's a huge operation that we are currently running. So that was under Shabin Siddiq, his former rugby chairman in 1819. He started that transformation, and after that 2021 Bandula Mali Karachi. So that after that baton gave it to me.
Right.
From the OBA. So
Right.
so that's how the transformation. So there are a lot of things happen inside Isipathana to make sure that we are maintained and consistent in the rugby.
Right. Wow. There's so much there's so much planning that actually is going into it.
Definitely, because as a rugby chairman for this year, my life got a little bit easy because the structure was already in place.
Right.
So we are putting a lot of investment into the junior level.
Okay.
So we have a set of all boys who volunteered, and like people like Achalanka, Janaka De Silva, Surendra. So they came through ranks and they supported
Some top names.
Yes,
Some
yes.
top names.
Yeah, Janaka De Silva is 99 vice captain.
Yeah.
So they came and they supported the development of the rugby.
Right.
Not only the coaching, as well as around that there are so many other things that we need to take care of. Their education, their discipline, their how they, because we get a lot of players actually from the middle class as well. So we need to see how their family background.
Right.
So there are so many things that as a rugby committee we are getting involved.
Wow. Wow. We're going to get into all those details.
Yeah.
But I'm sure lots of the Isipathanians, of course, watching us right now would have seen this particular video many times. But the reason we're playing this video is because the focus and what the players actually said in that video and the goals have now finally come to last. And now when you take a look at the video, it feels so good.
Yeah.
So these are plans that were put aside about 6 months ago, and now when you see a plan coming into play and the results show, that's exactly the feeling that you're going to get. So we're going to take a look at the video right now. It's the launch of Isipathana Rugby for the year 2022. This is how it started.
Isipathana Rugby is a passion which has been passed down through generations. They play together, one team, one dream. No matter how powerful the opposition teams are, Pathana Rugby play as one unit. They believe in themselves and are a motivated set of players, giving their best to sustain their position in the school's rugby arena. Isipathana Rugby had its ups and downs in the game over the years, but they always were the choice for the best rugby dash-out, unorthodox play and for winning games.
Within team එකක් ඉදිරිය එකට වැඩ කරගෙන යනවා. ඉසිපතන ඉද්දාලට රගවලින් පොදු කීර්ති නාමයක් තියෙනවා. අපි ඒක ඉස්සරහට අරන් යන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. අපිට කණ්ඩායමෙන් ලෙස තියෙන එකම ජයග්‍රහණී සීනයක්. අපේ මේ හරිත දවසේ අපිට ජයග්‍රහණය කිරීම බලය හා ශක්තිය ලබා දෙනවා. මේ වසරේ හොඳම පාසල් රග කණ්ඩායම වීමට තමයි අපේ බලාපොරොත්තුව. ඉසිපතන විද්‍යාලයේ ප්‍රේක්ෂකයන්ට අපි හොඳම දේ ලබා දෙන්න හදවතින්ම කැප වෙනවා.
It is my first assignment to Isipathana Rugby. I am amused to see the commitment of the boys. I believe that it is the power of their commitment that has led them to be successful. Rugby is like a religion to the boys. In rugby, there is no difference to the boys. There is no colour bar, race, rich or poor. I see them as one family, tightly knitted. It is the power of this commitment that delivers results. One team and one dream.
ඉසිපතන කිව්වම පාසල් රග්බි වලින් ඉහළින්ම තියෙන නමක්. අපි ඒක තවදුරටත් රැක් ගන්නවා.
මේ ඉසිපතන ජර්සි අන්දාම අපිට ඕනම අභියෝගයක් බාර ගන්න ශක්තිය එනවා. අපි මේ අවුරුද්දේ බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ ජයග්‍රහණයෙන් විතරයි.
අපි මේ ටිකේ කණ්ඩායමක් විදියට එකට පුහුණුවීම් කටයුතු කරගෙන යනවා. ඉදිරි තරඟවලදීත් අපි කණ්ඩායමක් විදියට එකට ජයග්‍රහණය කරනවා.
ඉසිපත රගර් කියන්නේ ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එකේ ඉන්න 15 දෙනා විතරක් නෙමෙයි අපිට ලොකු පිරිසක් ඉන්නවා. ඒ හැමෝටම මේ අවුරුද්ද ජයග්‍රාහී අවුරුද්ද.
All training sessions are well planned to meet the current physical demands of the game. Our coaching staff is proficient and understand modern rugby requirements, molding the boys to meet the demand and competition. Pathana Rugby is all about power and passion, and the belief that has spanned decades to produce many national players. Pathana Rugby has contributed the highest number of rugby players for club rugby, many of who joined the national grid. The commitment of the players to maintain our dominancy in the game is high. They know what is expected from them. All boys are a key decider in this modern day and age. The school rugby arena has changed from yesteryear. It is now an investment game to hold our position in the game of school rugby. Pathana Rugby. Power. All what we believe. Power of our heart. Power of our investment. Power of our novelty. Power of our commitment. Power of our passion.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen, and of course, taking a look back at the video, which is of course the launch of 2022 rugby season of Isipathana College. How do you feel?
Yeah, it's so proud and it's emotional, you know,
Right.
and gives the courage to the boys to go and become the triple champs for this season.
And it makes more sense when you take a look at it now,
Yeah.
because those are the planning stages.
Yes.
And now when you look at the fact, like I said earlier on before we put the video on, it feels so good when all your plans actually come into place.
Yeah, so Shaq, now we are in the middle of the season, so we have knockouts is on the way,
Right.
and the sevens is the third tournament that we are going to face it.
Right.
So we, as a rugby committee, we always go by the match by match and the tournament by tournament. So it's very early to predict. So we
So what
have
you're saying is your work is still not done.
not done.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So Duminda, I want to ask you, Isipathana College has a rich rugby history.
Yeah.
And basically, when you not only for several years, for decades, as a matter of fact, what makes rugby a religion at Isipathana?
So it's a very special. If you start from inception in early 1960s till now, rugby is the passion.
Yeah.
So it's a culture. It's a given. It's a God-given thing to the college.
Right.
So we call it. Everybody have the green blood in our bodies.
Right.
So with that passion, I think create a huge awareness and the demand in our school that we should focus on the rugby. This oval-shaped ball. So with that type of environment, our boys actually they're putting their heart out and play the rugby. So that's what I can say to you, because it's all about the passion that we brings from the college.
And it's more than a religion, as a matter of fact.
course.
It's more than a
Of course,
religion.
yeah.
And I think every single Isipathanian who gets into school, their ultimate goal is to represent in the first 15.
Yes, yes. Because if you take in 80s, 90s, that period, if you take the squad of first 15, there is not the squad, the entire practice. You get more than 100, 150 players try to get into the first 15 squad.
Right.
It's not easy.
It's not easy.
Shoulder to shoulder. If you stand from the ground, the shoulder to shoulder, there will be hundreds of players trying to get into the final 25 squad. So
Right.
it's not easy.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. It's Isipathana is always live with the expectation, and they want to do differently, and they want to keep that Kings of Rugby tag in ages to come.
And Isipathana has always played a completely different brand of rugby.
Yeah.
And it's known. And if one game that brand doesn't come out, it sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yes.
You know, it's like, okay, this is not the Isipathana that we knew.
Yeah.
Something's wrong. You know.
Yeah.
It's so used to over the years, and you
Correct.
obviously, and that is something really special. You know, because irrespective of the number of coaches that come in, you've still managed to keep that brand of rugby playing for the last 30, 40 years.
Yes.
So any rugby player, even if they went and saw an Isipathana match in the early 90s and come and see it now, the players may be different, but the brand is still the same.
Obviously, because Shaq, if you compare with any other big schools,
Right.
our boys are not large,
Right.
very thin and all, because they love to play open rugby.
Right.
So that's the brand that we have created, unorthodox playing.
Right.
So that creates the rugby fraternity also love our way of play.
Right.
So that's the secret.
The secret.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at this championship which you just won over the weekend.
Yeah.
I believe it's actually far more special than any other year. Of course, you brought it back after 5 years.
Yes.
The reason I'm saying it's far more special is the fact that the boys have gone through so much hardship, much more than all of us have gone through, because their focus really is to represent school, represent first 15, going through lockdowns, going through fuel crises, going through no transport to get to practices, economic situations of certain families unfortunately cannot make ends meet. So that's why it makes it so special.
Yeah.
What has the rugby committee done to make it easier for the boys?
Okay, so it's a challenging year for not only for Isipathana, rest of the other
Of course,
schools as
of
well.
course.
So after the pandemic over, 2 years there was no rugby.
Right.
So we were sitting and waiting when this start. So finally it started in last year, November, December time frame. So that time the school section actually organized a sevens tournament.
Right.
But unfortunately we practiced only 2 weeks, but we were not able to maintain our supremacy, but we lost that tournament.
Right.
So soon after that, we as a rugby committee, we get together and we analyze what has happened, and also we realize we need to have a short-term, mid-term, and long-term strategy, because since we didn't have won a cup for last 5 years.
Right.
So with that plannings, we lay down certain short-term goals. So one of the goals is actually how we now, after 2 years, these boys are coming into the ground.
Right.
And without going even to the school. So their mindset is, everything is completely different.
Right.
And also after 2 years, most of the under 16 and under 14 are now coming into the first 15 culture.
Exactly.
So there is a huge gap.
Right.
So they don't have any experience in these the first 15 standard environment.
Right.
So those few things, actually we make a note, and we have done certain, we have allocated within our committee, we have given the responsibilities to each and every person to make sure that these things we are rightly map it, and make sure the boys are come from that space to the properly to the first 15 squad. So it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy. We have done a lot of programs with the boys as well as the coaching staff, among the tech committee and the advisory committee. So with all these help us to mold it to a champion side. I mean, that's the foundation that we laid beginning of the season.
Right.
And then, in fact, we actually late to start the practice sessions as well, off season, because we in January we follow the process and recruited the coaching staff for the first 15. So Sali Kumar as the head coach, Danushka Boteju as the forward coach, both are national cap players and played to the highest level.
Right.
And Hashan Gomez as the trainer. And after that, we again recruited a head of SNC, Tarak Algama. He's a highly qualified person, because we saw that if we want to sustain in the top in the league or the tournament championship. So we need to have a proper structure in the from the senior to the junior. We need to have a proper training, strength and conditioning program.
Right.
So with that, actually, the coaching staff also fresh to the system, and the boys also the fresh. So I would say it's a challenge, but there is an opportunity, because it's a new fresh blood is coming together.
Right.
And together with the rugby committee and the OBA, and I want to thank our principal, head of the institute, Mr. Oshara Panditratne, because his guidance, his advice, his leadership is very vital to make all these pillars to come bring into the one table.
Right.
And go for a common purpose.
Right. Right.
So we did a lot of things within that short period.
Right.
We have to voluntarily, we have to spend a lot of time to plan it out and execute certain programs to come to this level, Shaq.
Clearly, there's a lot that's actually gone in. There was actually a question that came up from Panduka. No question to ask, just want to wish the Pathana boys and the team behind the achievement led by Duminda. I have hardly missed a Pathana match, and the final was the best ever, filled with lots of emotions. Cheers to Pathana Rugby. Panduka, thank you very much for your message, and also if you have any more messages or questions for Duminda, you can always drop us the question there on our number 077 669 1590. You did touch on the OBA, right? Isipathana has a very strong OBA, and they've had a very strong OBA over the last several years. What sort of role does the OBA play during the rugby season?
Actually, it's a huge role. I mean, OBA is as a main body, headed by Senior Vice President Lasantha Gunawardena and the VP Sports Amra Gunasinghe. Both are very experienced and dynamic individuals. So under their leadership, actually, their role is actually to make sure that we are, as a subcommittee of the OBA, we are following the proper governance. Because that transparency, because because they are depending on rugby committee to make sure that we are executing the programs with a proper manner.
Right.
So in that case, from the finance point of view, from the contracts, legal, secretariat point of view, and the advising roles, OBA is playing a very vital role of to make sure that everything is going according to the clean and neat books. So,
right.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you did mention about the processes that you have put together and recruiting your coaching staff, this is a very good question. That this Gihan, this was the question that I was going to get into. How much was the rugby budget for 2022? We'll get into that, Gihan. I don't know if Duminda is in a position to actually answer that, but my question was leading up to that, which was stating the fact that now you did lure in all the top names as far as your coaches and your coaching team. So there must be a massive cost involved in this.
Definitely.
And how do you come up with the to structure your cost? Where does your money come in from, and how do you sort of work it according to a budget?
Okay, so typically, if you are competing in A division rugby, the budget is huge, the cost is huge, because as I told you, we have doubled our coaching staff. If you take in our first 15, we have, apart from our coaching staff, we have medical staff.
Right.
The doctor,
okay,
the physio. So there is another 3 to 4 people in that particular team, and top of that we have under 18 coaching staff.
Okay.
So everyone is reporting to the head coach. Salia. So the salary is, and also from the junior, we have another trainer plus under 16, under 14, under 12, and on academy we have 2 coaches for each age group. So we have a strength of 20 people. We have to make sure that we need to pay them end of the month.
Right.
And most of them are in the calendar year we have to pay.
Right.
So all in all, if you take the budget wise, the huge, like 30% goes to the salaries.
Right.
30 to 35%.
Okay.
And the next biggest ticket is the nourishments and supplements, because we need to feed the boys.
Taking good care of them.
Taking good care of.
Right.
So that also similar amount that we have to accommodate for that.
Right.
And apart from that, the match expenses, then the gym equipments, maintenance, and the jerseys, everything that we need to supply from the as rugby committee.
Right.
So there are a lot of things. If you take hosting a match itself, it's a huge cost that we need to incur. Pay for the grounds, because we don't have a ground.
Right.
So then we need to pay for Havelocks, or if it is not available, then we need to go to Sia or any other places. If we are going away match, we need to pay for the transport as well. So we have to hire good luxury buses.
Right.
So budget is a very, very big concern. But as part of our planning session, as I told you earlier, so from the beginning in the Jan, we had a discussion how we're going to earn this money, because the budget is around about 30 million rupees. Right. So
wow.
Answer to that
So
question.
there you go, Gihan.
Yeah.
The budget was over 30 million.
So luckily we every year we do a program, the event called, we actually bringing our prominent all boys. They are always supporting for the college rugby. So we held a event over there, and we present in a leading hotel. So we present our budgets, we present our objectives, our purpose. Where are we going in short term, mid term, and long term? The next 10-year plan.
Wow.
So basically, in that context, actually, half of the budget were able to collect within 1 hour. I must thank all these old boys who are watching or who are staying. I mean, thank you very much for the support that all boys have pledged, and they have given funds to run the off-season and the pre-season and in-season. So thank you very much. Starting from, I want to mention few names like Dr. Jagat Alvis, Mr. Lucky Vikramasinghe, and Mr. Saradik Costa, Anusha Gunasinghe, Yusri Abdullah, so Ravi Lianage and Manjul Ranwal, La Santa Mallikari. So there are so many all boys actually contributed in largely, and there are so many others actually contributed for the betterment for the college. So once again, thank you very much, and the rest of the other all boys. Apart from that, actually there were so many other all boys actually bought us boots, other materials from there. I mean, so that's the beauty of Isipathana culture, you know.
Right.
So everybody is supporting. So and also I want to mention the first sponsor that came is Expo Lanka.
Right.
Sami Akbar, the quickie.com, he's the CEO. So he came and he not only sponsored Isipathana, he has sponsored another few top schools as well. So that's a blessing. And also in mid of the season, the Kagis Kotmale also came to the picture, and they also sponsored, together with our main sponsor Dialogue, also giving some sponsorship. So all in all, yes, we are still short, but we are confident somehow we will manage the financials and give everything to the boys to make sure that they will go for the goal.
Now you should have more sponsors lining up after winning the championship, knocking at your doors. Riaz actually has a message rather. You mentioned about the coach, staff, etc., etc. What about the manager's role?
Oh, I mean, so we have two managers.
Right.
So one is the senior team,
right,
and the junior team.
Right.
So the senior team is Rehan Musadik. So I mean, he's a dynamic guy. So he is the guy who is linking both the team, the coaches, and with the rugby committee. So he's playing a massive role, especially take caring the kids, the players, and make sure that he will facilitate the coaches, because a coach actually, head coach is every week he's giving the weekly plan and preparation plan. So his role is to make sure that everything will make sure that coaches' demands and everything he will meet.
Okay.
So it's a big role, Riaz. I mean, any manager have a very big responsibility he's carrying with his shoulders.
Right. One thing I want to ask you, Duminda, of course, we're talking about rugby right now, and over the years, for many years, you've always been connected with school rugby, which is not necessarily the case for the other schools. You've got the other big schools. Not only are they connected for rugby, but they're connected to other different sports also. But when you say Isipathana, it's automatic. It's like stuck to glue. It's rugby and Isipathana. Now, what happens to the other sports in school? What about the other kids who want to play cricket, who want to play squash, who want to play other sports? Why is no focus or less focus actually given to other sports?
I'm not saying that we don't have the focus.
Okay.
But if you take Isipathana, always, as you said, the rugby comes first.
It's a tradition.
It's a tradition.
Right.
So, but having said that, the OBA and the college, actually the principal and the POG, MIC, they have put in a lot of effort to bring other sports to the different level.
Right.
Say for an example, cricket. Or if you analyze last two big matches played in June, July, so we are top of the we are done very well against Thurston.
Yeah.
And also Pathum Nisanka playing for Sri Lanka.
Yes.
He left college in 2016-17. In my era, in 90s, we used to have Nwan Soiza, Suresh Perera, and all these good, talented players. So cricket is definitely, I think now with the proper structure, now it's coming up.
Right.
Only problem is, unlike rugby, the other sports doesn't have the consistency. So the OBA and we are doing a separate plan to how we can take that to the next level.
Right, right.
So you will see some championships that we are going to achieve through the other sports, especially from the basketball, where recently we won the segment 2 championship.
Okay.
And even the throw ball, we have a fantastic team, and football also now we are making certain room. So I think it's going to be a matter of time that other sports
are coming out. I suppose the amount of effort that you put into the rugby team in terms of the preparation, if that can be actually a carbon copy to the other committees and other sports in college, it could sort of start, yielding results.
Definitely, because we have done a couple of workshops with the other sports bodies as well. Especially, that's what I said. Like even the strength and conditioning play a bigger role.
Right.
And also we identified that swimming, gymnastic, and another sport actually. Those are the few sports that we need to focus more in the junior level.
Right.
Because that's where the agility comes. That gives a lot of agility, and also they can, once they come to the middle school level, they can go and start playing any other sport.
Right.
So swimming pool actually we have already built by the Old Boys Association, and now it's operate. So those infrastructure resources and everything is now on the way.
Good. Dilan has a question for you, Duminda. Are there plans to provide additional education programs to these players for their sacrifices of education time? On that note, I also would like to basically ask you, what is the rugby versus education balance in school? How does that work? I mean, some schools expect a steady attendance and making sure that their marks are also satisfactory in order for them to be in contention. For being a part of the rugby team in the first 15. How is that working in college?
So similar to the other schools, Shaq, we also, the school expecting the 80% presence to the classes, attendance.
Right, okay.
So I would say if you take for last decade or so, we have produced top class rugby players who are playing for national and the club level, and they already, they got through their A levels, and also now they are graduated from private universities and government universities as well. And as a rugby committee, we are doing a lot of programs. Even this year, we started with that I want to mention Surya Pereira, is Amaresia, the head, one of another all boy.
Right.
He sponsored, and we are giving a complete English scholarship
right. Okay.
for our this year and next year players. We have identified 25 players. So we actually have education wise also we have a separate team. So they are not only looking after the players, because we go and we are actually requesting all the players to share their term test results, and we do a certain analysis.
Great.
And we inform the teachers as well as their parents if they are not doing well in the school, the class, to improve these subjects.
Right.
So if we are in a position, if need any players help, so we are happy to help them, and we are helping them to somehow get through to those subjects.
Right. Because what has happened, I mean, in the past, of course, is the fact that more often than not, a star player or star players automatically are in the squad, but they don't necessarily have to go for classes. You know, it's happened in the past before, and because their education, unfortunately, they're in the team because of how great they are, and sometimes coming to class is sort of basically washed under the carpet, so to say. But it's great to see that lots of schools today, not necessarily Isipathana, lots of schools, of course, ensure the fact that there is a proper balance between education and whatever sport to ensure. And I think it also boils down to the coach. I think it's supposedly the coach that really looks into this, not necessarily the sporting activities, but making sure that the education is also met.
Yeah, so one example is, Shaq, we always instruct coaches, especially junior level,
Right.
to make sure prior to the session start, the coaching session start, go through their homework and check whether they have done their homework or they have done their subjects within the class, daytime class. So we instructing them also to get engaged and make sure the boys are doing studies as well as playing the practicing in balanced manner. And top of that, if you take last 2 years pandemic, there's everything was there is no sports at all.
Right.
So then we told even our players, look here, if these things coming up, you must have your education has to be there, because you can't play any sport in that nature.
Yes, yes.
So we are insisting, even we have parents meeting as well. So we are telling them, we are educating them, okay, we can do this much, but their responsibility also to take part of it and take that initiative and make sure that your kid is properly doing their studies.
Right. So that's, I mean, there's so many questions actually coming in and so many comments, as a matter of fact, because my producer has been telling me that there are so many comments that are coming in. So we're going to try and put in as many as we can right now. Dasun says it's amazing that Isipathana has achieved so much despite not having a proper ground of their own. Do you think that the kings of rugby will be finally given a ground by the current sports minister, at least truly deserved?
Okay, so we had, this discussion had with many ministers and the prime ministers, and went to the HE level as well.
Right.
So I think it's still a question mark, Shaq. I think our OBA and the principal, everybody was tirelessly working to get a ground.
Right.
So hopefully this year or next year, I don't know, I can't comment, but it's in the question mark at the moment.
But it's been in the works for a long time. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Unfortunately, still we didn't get any green light.
Right. No pun intended from a green machine, but still haven't got a green light for it. Yeah, okay.
And but I want to thank Havelock Sports Club, current president.
They've been your home ground, hasn't it?
Yes,
for many years.
So
I mean,
they
it's as good
provide.
As home.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, but they provide the facility for us, and our whoever outgoing players also playing for the club as well.
Right.
So they are very supportive, and not only Havelocks, even if you go to SIA, even Royal Complex, actually they also supporting us whenever we need, even Thurston Grounds.
Right.
So Thurston also our brother school.
Yes.
So everybody is supporting, because this is once you have that the relationship. So I think we can sustain and we can fulfill our requirements.
That's the beauty of the Sri Lankan school culture. There's a great camaraderie that's always there between whatever schools, unless the big match comes along.
Yes.
Unless the big match comes along, unless there is an important match that is, then of course your competition takes over. But then once that is over, the camaraderie is back again.
Correct.
Which is really beautiful, and which also, of course, everybody helps one another, which is also great. We got another question that actually came up, which we're going to get into. A comment, I think I briefly saw one. There was actually somebody watching us from Kandy. We're going to try and put that up for you, which we will do so. We have a few more minutes, as a matter of fact, on the show with us right now with Duminda, who's the president of the Rugby Committee of Isipathana College. Isipathana, of course, winning the 2022 championship after 5 years. before that question does come up, how important is, okay, I think the question is going to basically come up now. Let's have this. This is Kasun who's watching us from Kandy. Hi, Kasun. Normally, Isipathana depend on their 3 quarters playing, but this year there is a difference. Very good forward playing, especially last match, destroyed all the lineouts. A very good move. You know, I think we had a conversation about this off air also.
Yes. I think this year I want to say that our captain itself, number 8, he's a big made boy, and along with him we have another three forward players who are playing for fourth year colorsmen.
Right.
So they have the experience. They know what exactly to do in these crunch matches.
Right.
And I think the full credit goes to those players as well as our coaching staff,
right,
especially mastermind Danushka Boteju.
Right.
So his tactics also, he always link up with Salia. So both combination works pretty well for us at the moment. So they are the mastermind and the boys are executing.
Right, excellent. Something that I want to basically ask you, doesn't matter what sport you play, especially in school, and the parents, very, very competitive.
Yeah.
Like I said, doesn't matter what sport it is, but they're far more competitive when it comes to rugby. You know, the fathers are getting involved, the mothers are getting involved even more, the sisters, the brothers are getting involved so much more. How do you keep them at bay? Because they need to be kept out of the running of the rugby structure.
Yeah, so at Isipathana actually, if you take from the past to present now, we never come across any parents issues because there is a roadblock. So we are not entertaining parents.
Okay.
Because we are doing a volunteer job.
Right.
And we are answerable for the OBA.
Right.
So, and parents also very know the system. So we are, even our coaches never getting into any kind of conversation with the parents. So that discipline we maintain. So that's why we, because when it comes to the selections, we respect the coach's final decision.
Of course.
No one is going to interfere for those selections or why this player is not there, why you are not training. So we are not getting to that.
Right.
You know? But certain cases, if something comes to us, we'll definitely through the manager and we have a protocol to follow,
right,
and we inquire and see. Right. Other than that, actually, we are controlling very well.
It's like you're running a mini company.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah?
Yes. It's not easy. Yeah.
It's not easy. And obviously, being the president, being the head of this company, you've got a separate admin sort of stuff that's going on. And thing is, all of them are voluntary work.
Of course.
All of them are OBA, basically all voluntary. But the amount of work that goes into this, from what I gather from what you've told me, it's like setting up a little company,
yes,
and the company has to run.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
And and the thing is, I suppose, at the end of the day, it makes it so pleasurable when everything sort of comes into play.
Correct. Correct.
We got a few more messages that we're going to basically be putting up on the screen right now, and also we are into the final 5-6 minutes of the show. It's really has been a fantastic achievement so far for Isipathana. Seen in the past that Isipathana has had issues in retaining coaches due to various reasons. Any plans to overcome it this time, Saf?
Yes, so it's a good, valid question, because retaining the coaches is very, very
important and
difficult.
Right.
Because if you compare with other schools, we started with fresh coaches this season, but if you take the other top schools, actually they retain their coaches.
Right.
But as I told you earlier, we have a short-term, mid-term and long-term plan.
Okay.
So in our short-term and mid-term plan, we have set certain goals to how we are going to retain these coaches,
right,
in terms of their experience and the level of education side,
right,
as well as from the other remuneration side. Also, we are working on it. So the target is to at least minimum of 5-year contracts to be signed off with the coaches.
Okay.
So we are in that process at the moment.
Okay.
So it's not easy because when we are having a very good coaches in our rugby, so there are other schools also looking at them.
Yeah.
So it's not easy to maintain. But I'm so proud as a Isipathanian. If you take other schools in A division, there are more than 60% of the head coaches are from all Isipathanians.
Right.
Yes. So name few: Sanat Mari, Shamli Nawaz, Vetta Singh, Buddhiga Talagampal.
Right.
So there are so many
Ex-Pathanians.
Right. Are now in the different schools there.
And also Isipathana is a school that's actually fed the most number of players into the club system.
Yeah.
And from there they're obviously moving into the country's national team also. We're into the final few minutes, and of course let's see if we can actually put up those questions when we come back. But what we're going to show you right now is the last few minutes of that game over the weekend. I think every single Pathanian must have seen this game at least about 100 times.
Of course.
Over and over again. But still, the pleasure in seeing it all over again, especially the last 3-4 minutes of it, that's what we're going to play for you. Let's take a look at it and we'll be back right after this.
And that's going to be a yellow card. Massive blow for Royal College. Halfback, sent out.
Few Isipathana players on the ground as well. Here we go, Royal with the feed in.
Kavin Sasanga having to play at halfback, not something that he's not very used to, wearing number 9 jersey. In fact, here's Steven Pereira. Little bit of a step and puts the ball to boot, and that's a very good kick.
I'd be surprised if yellow card is shown for that offense, but why would you want to do such an offense, Sudarshan? You've got Royal pinned on their own goal line. You just lost whatever advantage you have, and you're going to go down by one player as well.
Two Isipathana jumpers have been tremendous throughout this game. Here's Costa giving it out to Kanishka. Kanishka show and go through the middle. Navin Kanishka for the lead. Scores right underneath the post. Absolutely brilliant stuff from Navin Kanishka. The first 5-8 for the Green Machine. Isipathana College into the lead. Multi-talented, and you could see how determined he was. Take a look at this. Looks around. The cap shows and goes. Try your dreams for any first 5-8 right underneath the post.
Yes, and if you look at that carefully, there was a nice dummy run by Sansoni which created that uncertainty in the Royal defense this time. And Royals 10
with just 15 minutes to go on our clock. Mehisara duly complies, adds in the 2. Samaratne hits the mark. Here's the Royal Mall. It's set. It's going forward. Royal on the charge. Meters away. Isipathana trying their best, but Royal here. Ball with Samaratne, crosses the line and touches down. That's the comeback try from Samaratne, who touches down for Royal College. Straight away cuts the deficit to a single point. Conversion to come.
Well, we were talking about Royal's line out needing to click. Boy, has it clicked at the correct moment. Nice clean take. Isipathana on that occasion deciding not to contest the line out, deciding to just try and contain that Royal Mall. Probably not the best decision. They may have needed to have taken a punt and try and contest that line out and try and disrupt Royal getting clean ball, but it wasn't the case. And as a result,
68 minutes on our clock. Minutes away from the league champions being crowned here at Havelock Park. If it stays like this, it will be a green story. Here's De Costa to Kanishka. Gives it to Silva. Silva out to Mehisara. Mehisara shows and goes. Mehisara off to Stefan. Isipathana College has just won the Dialogue Schools Rugby League 2022 with that score. Absolutely incredible stuff. Isipathana College Colombo was never the favourites when they started off this season, but has proved everybody wrong, coming in here, delivering an absolute masterclass. Ravi Stefan, the try scorer for Isipathana, 21 points to 15.
You have to give it to that Isipathana three quarters. I don't think Royal would have expected them to go out wide when the game was so close, but again, wonderful bit of handling. Again, Sansoni just selling that dummy. And again, sorry, it was Botejo who saw that dummy and drew the last line of defense for Jaya Khan to go over and put the finishing touches for Isipathana. And with that,
look at the jubilation. Look at the jubilation in the supporting staff. Look at the there is still time for Royal to make something out of this one. A short kick. Okay. But that is going to be a penalty. Player taken out in the air. Venurusangi taken out after a 2-year-long hiatus.
yeah, that's right. And the fact that they've just shown so much commitment and enthusiasm, you have to give it to most of the boys. And looks like this is going to be the final play. Isipathana have taken the short tap and just put it into touch and deserved the league winners at the end of the day.
Isipathana College, the green machine, unbeaten league champions, Dialogue Schools Rugby League champions with an unblemished record. Absolutely terrific stuff by the Greens, and they have all the right to celebrate. They've been mobbed.
So there you go. That, of course, happened over the weekend. Jubilation. And like I told you, every single Pathanian must have seen that match over and over again, a couple of hundred times. And I was secretly watching you, watching that. And you were smiling and laughing along the way. But clearly, it shows the pleasure at the end of the day. Just before we are going to wrap up on the show, there is one more message that came in. Hey, Shaq, a player who scored the first try in the game against Royal, he is next year's captain, who is also the captain of the first 11 cricket. Is a first 11 cricket captain for the next year, who obtained 9 A's in his O-levels, Navin Kanishka. What a fantastic achievement that is.
Yes, that's the fly half that who scored under the post try.
Right.
So he's a double champion, going to be cricket as well as rugby. Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing. That is simply amazing. Well, Duminda, thank you so much. We actually learned quite a bit on, we know how great Isipathana Rugby is and how they have actually been, but didn't realize the amount of work that really goes behind to making sure that there is a structure that is followed. Because rugby is in the blood for anybody who goes into Isipathana. So you automatically think that anybody who goes there is already good at playing rugby. But it's not the case. It's, of course, the fact that harnessing the talent, making sure the talent actually goes the distance that you want them to go, and people like you who have sacrificed time to help your old school to ensure the fact that rugby still is right on top.
Yeah. So on top of that, Shaq, actually from the rugby committee perspective,
yes,
the members, we are getting now young members into the rugby committee.
Right.
So the other long-term strategy is to build the leadership within our rugby committee as well.
Right.
So giving the ownership, the leadership, and bring that they can learn all these things, system, how it works, and maybe next 10 years they can run this rugby in a different level.
Wonderful. We're just almost done with the show, but I think it's about time for us to actually go back to the poll that we featured at the beginning of the show, which will be very interesting to see because this is it's a bit controversial, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a bit controversial because there is a school of thought that believes that rugby should actually come under the Ministry of Youth and Sports because it is a sport.
Correct.
And then there's another group that thinks that it should stay with education because schools are involved. So it's a bit topsy-turvy.
Dilemma there.
Exactly. So we're not sure exactly what it is, but we'll find out what our viewers think about it. Should school rugby come under the purview of the Ministry of Youth and Sports? Because right now, and it has always been under the Ministry of Education. Yes or no? You WhatsApped your answers to that number 077 669 1590. Let's find out what our viewers think about this. 84% Duminda, school rugby should come under the purview of the Ministry of Youth and Sports.
Massive.
That's massive.
Massive.
That's massive. I mean, so many watching us on YouTube right now, and so many, of course, watching us on Channel 1 Dialogue TV, 84% believe that schools rugby should come under the Ministry of Sports and Youth and not under Education. Now, this is a debate that will go on forever.
Yeah.
It's been going on forever.
Yeah.
And there has not seen the color of anything coming out of this.
So my view is, Shaq, the last thing that I want to share, like whoever the main body, whether it's Education Ministry or the Sports Ministry, so if they can do well,
right,
with the current scenario, they can do lot. They can add to the betterment for the sport,
right,
especially for the rugby,
right.
So we are done very well in recently in the Commonwealth
That's
Games
right.
under
That's right.
Surya's captaincy, and so I think whoever own this rugby, what they have to do is they need to transform and they need to look at the future and come up with a proper plan.
Right, right.
And give more and more benefits. I mean, the monetary fundings to the schools to run the sport.
Right, right. So I mean, like I said, that is a conversation. I think that's a debate. That's a conversation. That's a panel discussion.
Yeah.
It'll just go on and on and on. And I do not think that we will ever get an answer.
Yes.
Because it's been going on for a long time. But that's what the viewers think.
Yeah.
A fair amount think that it obviously should be part of the Sports and Youth Ministry. Duminda, thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks,
It's been
Shaq,
an absolute pleasure.
Thank you
For being a part of the show.
Wish you all the best for this platform as well, Pod Hub, and look forward to see you soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to have you on the show.
Yeah.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for being a part of the show for this week. Unfortunately, we're not going to be having a show tomorrow, but we are going to have a repeat of a very, very big show that we actually had last week. You can take a look at that one. It's a show that we obviously had the Field Marshal, Sarah Fonseca, in the studio, and we're having a repeat of that show tomorrow due to very popular demand. So we'll have that for you at 9:30 tomorrow night. Till we speak to you live once again on Monday, you have yourself a wonderful Wednesday night and a great weekend. We'll speak to you soon. Good night.